I have Draven, the Blackbird King, and Kellen Craven from Gen Next Pro Wrestling here to help me out, to help us all figure out who are the top. Where do these guys rank? The goth, dark, emo. I don't know what to call them these days. The kids seem to change the words on me every 5 seconds. But these are your emo wrestlers, your dark wrestlers, your horror wrestlers. And I want to get into this and talk to you guys about it. I know we all have varying levels of experience with these wrestlers. But I want to kind of rank them out. How we're going to rank them, it's up to us. We'll decide the criteria. You let us know down in the comments below what you think about our rankings. If you'd change anybody around. Let's start at the top of the alphabet here. Let's talk about Abaddon. I know me and you, Kellen, we talked about Abaddon at length in my documentary video about them. Um, how do you think they rank out? And maybe we might need to change these, move these around as we go, as we kind of determine what makes them the best. I'm just gonna gravitate them up towards a B right now. Any thoughts, guys?
Go ahead, Craven. You can take that one.
Yeah, I know we did a deep dive
B's
on
about what I
Abaddon.
was thinking.
Thinking B tier.
If we think about like I don't know, we got to really think about the criteria that we're putting in here about
Yeah, yeah,
who goes where they need to be. I think overall influence has to be a factor as
yeah.
well as the amount of effort that you put into your character, into your
Oh
gimmick.
wow.
As far as effort
Yeah,
and all
effort.
that, they should be top of the top. No
Yeah,
one
effort's an
puts
S,
in the
man.
time that they do to look the way they
Oh
do,
man,
to
yeah.
act the way they do, to present themselves the way that they do. They would be top of the top. Now we start talking about influence. That's where they fall more
Mm,
towards the middle. They're very new. They haven't quite impacted the people the way that someone like a Jeff Hardy has. Jeff
yeah,
Hardy
true.
influenced a generation. I think Abaddon could get there, but we got to see more. I think B is a good spot. I think that's actually the perfect one to be like that middle bar here.
Yeah, overall influence is a good criteria to go with. Draven, are you familiar with Abaddon at all?
Yeah, I'm familiar with it. That's the she's at what TNA sometimes, right?
AEW, the Living
AEW
Dead
too.
girl.
I seen her over at TNA. Well, yeah, I'm familiar with her.
Yeah,
Far as character wise, I think she like Craven said, I'm not piggybacking off what he said, but I agree with him. She puts in a
yeah,
lot of work for her character image. She looks the part. I'm pretty sure if you knock on the door at 4 in the morning, she's going to answer the door just like that.
yes,
You know,
yeah.
and I
Living the
really do
gimmick,
believe that. You know,
living the
when
gimmick.
you put her in a room full of other female talents from the door, she's just going to stand out and be recognizable. So I think
Yeah,
that's a big factor too. And like Craven said, you just give her time, and it's nothing like the sky's the limit for talents like her. I would say B is a good right now slot for her right now because she got still more time to grow. But
yeah. I feel that.
sky's the limit for her. She's dedicated to her craft, and she fits perfectly in that genre of wrestlers and that family of wrestlers. She fits perfect. I like her. I like her work. I like what she does.
Yeah, I like that a lot. Now this actually makes it tricky because now we have Alexa Bliss, and I don't know, like when the only wrestler on here to compare with is Abaddon. Alexa Bliss looks kind of lightweight. Now the lineage there is heavyweight with Bray Wyatt and the Fiend. That's what really gets her on this list. I don't know if she'd get there on her own, but it's that connection to the Fiend. That's what I'm thinking about when I made this tier list myself. When I put her on there, I was like, you really can't ignore her because of the work she did with the Fiend. Now, typically when she comes out, when she's not connected to Bray Wyatt, maybe you wouldn't even have her on this list. So maybe the effort isn't as extreme as it is with Abaddon, but the exposure, the impact is greater, right?
I would
Yes.
say, go ahead, Craven.
I was going to agree with him. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah.
I would say, her appeal before she became with the merge over from the Bray Wyatt thing,
Yeah.
as just Alexa Bliss played a big part in that. She was already recognizable,
Yeah.
so I think the fans wanted to see something like different from her
Mm-hmm.
at that point in time, and it fitted perfect with her side with Bray Wyatt to take on that type of persona. It just gave her like another layer to her character
Yeah.
overall. Like how you said, if she would have like would she hold weight like that without the Bray Wyatt influence? Maybe probably not too much, but at the same time, with her influence as Alexa Bliss and the things that she accomplished in the ring, multiple time champion, crossing over from SmackDown
Yeah.
to Raw, becoming champion instantly. I mean, it was a time where she was just like white hot, you
Hmm.
know. So when she kind of like took a little backdrop for a little minute and came back with the situation with Bray Wyatt, I kind of think that boosted her back to the spot where she wanted, not where she probably wanted to be at, like getting championships and everything, but overall reception from the crowd and from the fans of saying, yeah, like this is something new and different from Alexa Bliss. Knock on the door 4 o'clock in the morning. Would she open the door like that? Probably not. You know, I'm a huge Alexa Bliss fan. Personally, I like her work. You know, she's somebody one day I look forward to meeting. You know, picking her brain. You know, because she's a survivor. You know, I look at her as
Yeah.
like a survivor. So, you know, to transform from that was a great move for her career wise. You know, so my opinion, and no disrespect to her or anything, but just rating her in the genres, and we started off with Abaddon. You know, that's kind of hard to follow
Yeah, yeah.
right there. So I would say more like a C.
More like a C. If we're kind of leaning, this is the goth horror emo tier
Yeah.
list. It's not the wrestler tier list. So yeah, I,
Right,
I
right,
kind
right,
of I
right.
can agree with bringing her down to a C. What do you think, Helen? Does that sound about right?
Yeah, I think that
Yeah.
Draven touched on a lot of really good stuff, especially about her early career and how white hot she was
Yeah, yeah,
before this pivot to the Bray Wyatt character. And I think that the pivot was the correct move and it was going to launch her to the stratosphere. But
yeah.
the moment she took a seat in this catapult and got ready to take off, they cut the rope and the catapult didn't go off.
Yeah.
Bray Wyatt
It's
passed. She
unfortunate.
took some time off TV, and now she's getting back to it, showing back up. I'm hoping that they reload that catapult and send her right where she belongs in the stratosphere with some of the best women we've ever seen, because that's the talent level she is, that's the worker she is, that's the kind of person she is. She deserves to be up there. But as of right now, I think C is good.
I think C is right. All right, now a guy that has no desire to be on the catapult is the Butcher. However, it's a great gimmick. In terms of horror, I don't know. I mean, the Butcher and the Blade. I mean, if we want to talk about them collectively, which is probably fair enough, they're both guys from Buffalo here. They're a tag team. I've got the Blade on here. There he is. So we can bring the Butcher and the Blade on here and talk about them both together. I don't know. I feel that they might belong in that C tier as well.
Hmm.
Living the gimmick a little bit, not entirely. It's not like they turn it off or anything. They're both, I think, fans of horror movies and stuff like that. I know they're both involved in that. The Butcher having a successful band. It's not a horror band. If it was a goth band, I would definitely elevate them up. But I
Hmm.
think it was more like a, I don't know if you want to call them like an emo screamo kind of situation.
The Butcher?
Yeah, the Butcher.
Wow, that's interesting.
Oh yeah, we got a video about it. It's on it's on the Parts Unknown channel, all about his music career. If you guys don't know,
I didn't know that. That's
I think
interesting.
he's actually more famous in the music world than he
Yeah,
is in the wrestling world. Actually,
So
I didn't
he's
know until I
so he's
watched your video.
yeah.
so he's one. Yeah, I gotta watch them. So you saying he's one of those the gothic type of screaming type guy? Like,
No, no, they're kind of more around. It's more emo-y than goth. More,
Yeah.
you
okay,
know, and we are talking emo here. That's one of the terms. But I think as we add wrestlers, I think they're going to gravitate down towards the C level. Um, Now here, the next one I have on here is tricky too, and that's Brian Keith. Who knows a lot about Brian Keith who isn't named Mr. Hargrave?
Brian Keith. Is that the guy rolling with Jericho right now?
He is, and he's kind of abandoned a lot of his gimmick to do it. So as part of the learning
Yeah,
tree gimmick, he's
yeah.
kind of given up. He's not just a bounty hunter. He's like an
Right.
Undertaker inspired bounty hunter. I really love his original gimmick.
Okay.
And he
Yeah,
used to
yeah. I know
do a lot
exactly
of
what you're talking about.
Undertaker stuff, roll his eyes back, and he did the sit up and all kinds of stuff like that. So he did have more of a horror gimmick before he kind of came up to AEW and kind of broke through. And now he's part of the learning tree. And now he's just the guy that says, you better respect Jericho, right?
Right, right, right.
Um,
Yeah, I don't. I'm not too familiar with the with the dark character he played, and I seen him as the bounty hunter cowboy. I thought that
yeah.
was a great character because that was something different.
Yeah, I like it.
I heard he was the man down in where he from Texas, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I heard he was the man down there as far
Yep.
as in ring. He was a long reigning champion of a certain promotion. I'm not sure what it was.
Yeah.
But he's once again he's another guy that's great in the ring. You can tell he got a
Oh
lot of
yeah.
skills. And just to be side by side with Jericho, like Jericho just don't
Yeah.
put anybody by his side, you know. So if he puts somebody by his side, especially under the learning tree, I'm pretty sure it's somebody that's notably already can hold it on their own. So you know, yeah, Brian Keefe is he's a great professional wrestler. I think he's doing his thing down there in AEW. If they the way it's going right now with the angle of I don't know if he's going to break off and do his own thing, and I can hear the crowd
Oh
kind
yeah.
of getting behind him, screaming his name. If you've been watching certain last couple shows, they've been like
Oh
screaming
yeah.
for him like as a solo. So, you know, I'm not like I said, I'm not too familiar with his dark character, things like that. But that's pretty interesting to know that he got that type of layers that he can peel through
Yeah.
and have something like that under his belt. It would be good to see AEW maybe let him pull that off. I could see that. There's a lot of characters down there, a lot of workers and wrestlers down there that he could fit right in with that. But you know that remains to be seen. But overall, I think he's a great in-ring performer.
Yeah, absolutely. I like him down in C rank just because he doesn't really the horror angle's kind of on hold right now. I think if it comes out, I'd love to move him up to B. But it's gonna be if like Abaddon's a B, and I like what you said about that. Whereas if you roll up on her unexpected, she's gonna look like that.
Yeah,
Um,
that plays an important
really
part. Like
living it,
you
really
know,
living it. So I think a guy that we could talk about that way might be Damian Priest. I feel like Damian Priest might be another B at least. Maybe we could even go to A. What do you think, guys? If
Damian Priest. I mean, it depends on what layer of Damian Priest you talking about. You talking about the King, the Street King? You talking
Oh no,
about
we're talking about right now, Judgment Day, which I think is his most kind of goth. We're not talking horror, but definitely he's lean. I mean, a lot of people have coined the term bisexual Undertaker.
Yeah, I was
You
gonna
know,
go with that. You know, once you get that type you get that type of title. I mean, it's
yeah,
kind of a little hard to run from that.
that's
So
pretty
I
good.
see him as like I see him more as like a goth dresser, like the
Yeah,
way he dressed.
yeah.
But like character wise, like
He doesn't really
he don't
do
really
spooky.
yeah, he don't
Yeah,
really fly off as to me. It's like he really embodies that. The
yeah.
dress code, yeah, but like he don't look like he looks more like a street guy, you know, like a street guy
I
from New
hear you.
York City, which he is, but just happen to dress in that type of style, you know. So you know you can't fool the fans out here. And I'm not saying that he's trying to fool anybody. I'm not
No,
saying that, but the fans is the first viewers. They know what they want to see. They know who you are. If somebody place a label on you, they already going to know if they accept it or not. And for them to come out with a term bisexual Undertaker, I don't know where that came from, why they even placed that on him in the first place.
I,
But
I think it's
you
just the
know,
way he dresses, the presentation, the faction, the
yeah,
size, his dominance.
I
For
could
all,
see
all
it.
the right reasons, really.
Yeah, I could see it, but you know, like I said, he's more like a. I got introduced to Damian Priest when he was down in NXT. That's when I
Yeah,
kind of like really was like, yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
this guy's he's going to be amazing. I mean, he put on some great matches with Keith Lee when they was going back and forth for the
Oh
North
yeah,
American title, and I was just like, yeah, sky's the limit for this guy, and I still think like that about him because, like I said, he's so much that he
yeah.
got layers to him too, so much things that I think he can do. But you know what I'm saying? Just right now, like the where he's at right now with the Judgment Day and the Goth look and everything like that, I like it, but I think he can do a whole lot more.
I feel
There's so
like
much.
you're gravitating towards C on this, Kellen. Let me have you
Yeah,
weigh in.
see.
I would say B. It sounds like Draven would say C. Let me let you break the tie, Kellen. Where do you think Damian Priest goes on this tier list?
Initially, I thought B as well,
Okay.
but Draven's comments about him
Yeah.
dressing like it, not really acting like it,
Yeah.
make me lean more C. And in addition to that, it makes me want to drop the other half of the tag team, not the one who's in a band. I don't know their names apart
Oh,
from each
just
other.
the blade.
I think he needs to go down one for the same reasons, where he just kind of dresses like it, and the group is largely
I'm gonna
carried by
move
the
him
look of
back
his
up because
body.
I do want to point out that he is like married to Allie, and I think that gives you a points and keeps you in C.
That alone is enough.
That's alone's enough. I mean, she's like a horror icon. If Allie was on here, she'd be like a B or an E, maybe even an A because she's got like more notoriety than Abaddon.
Right.
So I'm gonna keep the blade up there. Plus, his mask is really cool. If you've never seen the blade's mask, it's totally horror inspired and way
Hmm.
creepier than anything the butcher does. All right,
Yeah, I seen
I
that.
I want to move in maybe our first S rank. It's Danhausen, boys. Convince me that he's not S rank. I'm crazy biased. Can anyone tell me that he is not like one of the top horror, emo, goth, whatever you want to call it, dark
I mean,
gimmicks
like,
in the history of time?
like I mean, like, if you just look at Danhausen without him speaking, I
Boom.
mean, he gives off like the old back in the day Count Dracula type
Yeah.
image,
All that.
But once he start like doing his thing, it kind of comes off more like comedy, like funny.
Hmm.
So it's just like,
But
you know,
sometimes he comes out and he's very evil, Danhausen, and
yeah,
he has a
he do the little curse thing, but I
six.
would
No,
rank
not the
his.
curse thing. When he comes out as very evil, there's very nice and very evil. And when he comes out as very evil, he has like a 6-inch railroad spike and a jar of teeth, and he means business, and he wrestles like he's 300 pounds.
Oh wow,
There's
okay,
like
Yeah,
a
that's
yeah,
another
he's,
thing.
he's
demon.
got like a deathmatch
He
character
has
that
like
he
a
just keeps
demon
locked
inside of
away.
him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh well, then maybe that side need to be shown some more because
It does.
that
It
sounds
really
pretty.
does.
That'll put him up in the ranks real high.
I
Like
think so. You know what?
yeah, I would.
Because that side doesn't come out enough, I'll give it to you. I'll move him down to A, but in my heart, he's an S. In my heart, he's an S. All right. So does Darby Allen get an S? How do we feel about Darby Allen? I mean, he's iconic as all hell. He might be
Yeah,
one of the most
yeah,
famous emo wrestlers of all time.
that's a good word to describe Darby. Iconic,
Yeah.
and especially being at the age that he's at right now. I would agree with you on that, and I'm not just saying that because of his popularity. He's a person that lives the lifestyle, and like for me, well, I'm big on if you live the lifestyle outside of the
Oh
ring.
yeah.
Like
Yeah.
if you roll up on
Yeah.
Darby,
Yeah.
if you roll up on Darby outside the ring, 9 times out of 10, he's going to have the face paint on. He's
Yeah.
going to be with a skateboard. He's going to be doing something crazy, and that to me plays a big part that you
Mm-hmm.
really live what you're portraying. I
Yeah.
mean, for this guy. I remember the craziest thing I heard from him was like he was in New York skateboarding and got
Yes.
hit by a bus or a
Yes.
cab or something like that, and
I
then he was
actually
at
I saw him just a few days after. I was supposed to be at
yeah
a signing with him, and it was delayed
yeah
because he got hit by a bus.
Yeah, by a bus, and then he was on the show like a couple weeks or a month later. I'm like,
Yep.
yeah, that's really badass. So, yeah, Darby's yeah, he's up there. I say he by living a
It
lifestyle
might
and
be
being
us.
iconic, young as he is right now. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's up there.
And I snuck Sting up there too. I just went ahead and snuck Sting up there while we were talking because,
Yeah,
like, if we're gonna put Darby at S, Sting goes at
yeah,
S automatically. I
yeah.
think that Darby maintains his S because he lives it. If we're gonna put Sting up there, I don't know if Sting really. He, I think
Sting lives it. I
he
mean, you
does
roll up
live
on
it.
him any given time, you're not going to see him without the face paint. He's
Well,
going to be
uh,
there. He kind of lives it, in my
I
opinion.
think you will find him without the face paint, but he's gonna be doing. He's secluded. He is an outsider. If you
Well,
roll up
yeah,
on Sting, he'll be on his farm setting a bonfire. Like he is a
yeah,
weird
well,
guy.
yeah, and that's where you're kind of out of bounds if you're rolling up
Yeah.
on him that close. But if
Yeah.
you see him outside, if you see him outside anywhere else doing like a signing or anything
Yeah.
else, he embodied that character for years,
He
and
has. Yeah.
yeah, he kind of like opened the door for like even
He
somebody
did.
such as myself. If you
Yeah.
can't really tell, like
Yeah.
you can see the inspirations of like Sting and Brandon Lee, as far as like the Crow character. I just try to put my own spin on it where I'm not trying to be like the crow as the man. I'm
Yeah.
representing
Yeah.
more like the blackbird himself.
I
So
like that.
I took huge bits and pieces from those guys, especially Sting himself, the iconic status and the things that he do. He does the woo, I
Yeah.
do the call type things like
Nice.
that. So he's very monumental on my career so far and
That's cool.
probably be my whole career. Another person I'm looking forward to meeting if I have the opportunity to, to pick his brain and ask him some great questions about this business. But yeah, I would think by him just being iconic, such as he is, and how iconic, how he held that status for so long.
Yeah.
And being and just changing, like I'm big on changing characters. Like you go from one thing, you go from another, you go from another. We could take it back to Sting with the blonde box with the face paint.
Yeah.
He was living that character to when he crossed over to the dark character. He just embodied it, like living and the travel on the road, much as they did back then, and still hold that character up.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just pretty amazing. A lot of people don't really like. That's like a lost art now. Like
Yeah.
even when I jump on a podcast and you invited Draven the Blackbird King. That's why you see the background. That's why you see me and my Gothic hoodie, and I'm embodying the characters. Like I got that from old school. If you roll up on Undertaker, which another one that should be up on this list, he's going. You're not going to get Mark. You're going to get Undertaker. Flair, the same thing. Hogan, you're not going to get Terry. You're going to get Hogan. So I embody people who really and I respect people who really takes on a character 24/7. And that's when you become living the character and it becomes like night and day to you where you could just turn it on at any given time. And that's kind of like not too much nowadays. No disrespect to guys like that. I'm not going to say any names or anything, but when you look on certain podcasts and there's some of the wrestlers get invited on podcasts, it just look like guys that's just pushing shopping carts in Walmart or working at a
Yeah.
Wawa or something. And you like, what? Like, I think that's going to take away from the fans unless they really invested in you, like buying a ticket to the show to see you. So I take it real serious. Maybe that's just my thing. So for respect for the fans that buy tickets to the show, and also respect for this business, and this industry, to always stay in my character and to live it much as I can. And I'm still learning and I'm still growing. I'm putting pieces in every day. Even for myself, I have different variations of Draven the Blackbird King. Like I like to say, my character maybe got DID, dissociative identity disorder, I would say, because I'm this Draven the Blackbird King right now, and of course, I carry the famous Blackbird mask that started it all off. But then, I got my King persona,
Yeah.
where the gold mask face and the crown on. That's a totally another different guy. I mean, I even branched out to having from doing lucha libre down there with Tarzan
I was going
Duran.
to
He took
mention
me out
that.
to
Dre Lucha.
yeah, yeah, I'm doing Dre Lucha. That's another side of my personality of a character where he's like a dark lucha character.
That's
So
cool.
I think is I like having layers in my character. It creates more creativity. It open up the lane for people to like more options of you, and I think it keeps your longevity around a little bit longer, and you got more things to fall back on. I grew up watching people like Mick Foley. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Always been a fan of like Papa Shango, Godfather, even when he was
Sure.
Kama, from Bray Wyatt, I would even throw like a lot of people in that category that can just change different
Oh
characters
man,
and
you're just
still,
filling out my tier list now. I've moved Undertaker up to S. I'm putting Bray Wyatt up to S. I feel like if I
yes.
argue either of those guys, I'm gonna get canceled off the internet and maybe fired from
Oh yeah.
CCW.
See,
So
that's another thing where you gotta watch what you say. We was talking
yeah,
about that earlier.
I'm like, all right, we'll give those guys S rank. Now, Kellen, here's one I want to put up to S rank, and I want you to speak on Malachi Black. We're talking about living the gimmick. I don't know if there's any guy living the gimmick harder than Malachi Black. We're not going to argue him being up in S rank, are we, Kellen?
Hmm.
Oh man, you want to ding Malachi Black?
I
I mean,
don't.
that's
There's a
on
part
you.
of
I'm not going to do it.
no, no, no. There's just a part of me that feels like S needs to be reserved for a different level of icon. Like
Okay.
that's like
Okay.
this. Like I love Darby and I love
Okay.
Malachi. Probably two
I hear
of,
what
or
you're saying.
definitely
S is
two.
getting crowded, right?
They're two of my top three, top five favorite wrestlers in the world. I've taken
I hear
so
you.
much from Darby. I've taken so much from Malachi that you can't doubt their influence. But I feel like they're closer to the Danhausen level because I don't think they're Undertaker and I don't think they're Sting.
I almost feel like our C's need to go down to D's because like we are just really crowded up here, and if we
Mm-hmm.
do this, life starts to make more sense. I think where we have Sting, Undertaker, Bray Wyatt up in S, Darby, and Malachi in A. We put Downhausen down to B. As much as I love him, I hate to take him down, but is he really, you know, gonna have the long-lasting impact that a Malachi Black and Darby Allin is potentially gonna have? Um,
Right.
maybe
Right.
this is a more accurate kind of
I
look to
think that makes
things.
a lot more
Yeah,
sense. I
I
like that
think
a
so.
lot better.
We got carried away. Look,
Yeah.
I like all these people, and I want to put them all up in S. Here's
I mean,
another.
look, living the gimmick, Malachi is another level.
Definitely.
I got to meet him down in Florida and take one of his seminars. It was one of the best experiences of my life. It was just great to see. I mean, he never unclenched that freaking eye. He
Mm-hmm.
kept that thing shut the entire
It's
time, sitting
amazing.
there talking to us
Yeah.
and teaching us. He never let go of that eye,
Yeah.
even around workers in like a training setting. he still kept that thing squished the whole time. Even taking pictures with us afterwards. He lives what he
Wow.
teaches. You see pictures of his house. He's got
Yeah.
macabre shit all over the walls, and
Yeah.
it's tattoo pictures. Like he lives everything about it. So I think A and Darby and Malachi is like a new bar to get into the A.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think
I agree
so.
with that.
I like that.
I
But
agree with that.
S is God tier.
S
You
is
ain't
God
touching
tier.
Sting. You ain't touching Taker.
No.
I don't care if you're Darby Allin or not.
Yeah. Yeah. Same with Bray Wyatt.
Yeah.
So Evil Uno. I'm pulling him up here. And Evil Uno kind of representing the whole Dark Order
Mm-hmm.
is my idea about that. I think maybe that's a C, kind of along with Abaddon. We don't have
I
the
think so too.
impact. Yeah, I think above those in D.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? I'm going to give Uno credit. I've never seen him without that mask on.
Right, right.
Yeah, me
Ever,
either.
never, never. And he does podcasts, he does all that stuff. So always that mask on. So I give him credit for that. Here's a new guy.
With the
Here's
influence of the Dark Order,
yeah.
I could almost see him going to B.
You want to? Is he a Danhausen level? I mean, we got all the history with Smash Brothers too. I could give that.
Mm-hmm.
I could get with that. How about Jack Perry? This is a new gimmick, and he hasn't been horror for very long, but the scapegoat gimmick was pretty hardcore.
I like the truck.
Oh, the truck's awesome. I mean, we did a whole like hour talking
Yeah,
about that truck and how that
I like the
works.
truck.
I
It
love
gave
the
me
truck.
more vibes. Like it gave
Kellen's
me.
dying right now because he's remembering me talking about the
We had a
scapegoat truck.
30-minute rant about this fucking truck and how he gets it from show and if he lives in
How's
it.
it
We
work?
talked forever.
How's it work?
That's pretty. It was pretty. It was pretty kind of different.
It's
When I first
badass.
saw the truck, the first thing I thought of was like Jeepers Creepers. I was like,
Yeah.
yo,
Yeah.
He's
that's
driving
pretty
around in
cool.
this
Like,
creepy truck. And here's what's
yeah,
great.
yeah,
He
man,
he
that was pretty
really
cool.
did
You know,
he really did live in the truck. He really drove the
yeah.
truck. It's
Hey, you
real.
gotta live the gimmick,
He
man. You
really
gotta
lived
live the
it.
gimmick.
So
Yeah,
I guess we're going B. I mean, he got pretty big with it too. I feel like it's just getting
yeah,
started. If he comes back and keeps going, he could go to A.
yeah. I give him a B.
Yeah, I give
I
him
think B
B.
for now, but we got to see him come back and I got to see him continue and I got to see this going. He's off to a strong start, but he could fall just as quickly as he could rise.
So I don't know if you guys are very familiar with Rosemary or not, but I am going to give her a solid B just because she's had more impact than Abaddon. I think she very much lives that gimmick. If you've looked into her at all or seen all the stuff that she's done with Allie on YouTube, she is always in character. She was always in face paint. And yeah, I think solid B for her.
Yeah, I agree. I'm familiar with Rosemary and the work that
Excellent.
she does, and
Yeah,
like
she
that's
does great.
another thing. Like she's always in character.
Yeah.
I don't think. Have you ever seen her without face paint, like
Mm-mm.
on screen or anywhere else? Nah.
Nope.
So yeah, I agree. I agree with that. That's like
Yeah.
yeah, she's always in character. That's a big, huge factor when we're ranking them. So yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah,
I think
absolutely.
much like Danhausen, she's at the upper end of B. Like
Yeah.
she's sniffing the tail end of A. I think
Mm-hmm.
she's up there.
100%, 100%. I would definitely agree with that. Now, here's one that literally cannot take the gimmick off because it's tattooed on her body. It's Ruby Soho, Ruby
Mm-hmm.
Riot, I believe, formerly. Um, I don't know. It's kind of a different gimmick. We're more on the emo spectrum than the horror spectrum. Um, definitely live in the gimmick. Kind of tricky. She's had a big time off. I feel like it would be easier to rank her higher if she was more active, but she's taken some time off, just had a baby.
Mm-hmm.
Right, right.
Um, I'll put her in C.
I think she goes for C because like just having tattoos and being an alternative person does not make you a dark character.
No,
Exactly,
no, I don't think
exactly.
so.
It
Um,
falls more. It falls more like towards what we was talking about. The Damian Priest. You can wear the clothes, but
yeah.
oh,
Now,
yeah,
now,
it's
you,
Honestly,
now
more.
you convinced me to put her down in
I say I
D.
think she might go to D. 'Cause she's
I
definitely
think she
not
goes D.
Abaddon level.
I think she goes to D, and
Right.
I think Shotzi goes right next to her. It's very much the same story.
I think D can be summarized
Yeah,
by just kind of
you're
alternative
wearing the
wrestlers,
look.
like not necessarily dark gimmick. And on that note, that makes me want to move Alexa Bliss up next to Abaddon.
Yeah, she definitely had more of a run there with a hardcore horror gimmick
Hmm.
than maybe any of these wrestlers have.
Right.
So I agree with that. How do we feel about Sky Blue? Once again, we got a bit of a truncation there because she got injured. She was out. She just like kind of adopted the darker look before she's been was on a forced hiatus. Um, I don't
I'm
know,
not
man.
as
She
familiar
she
with this
does,
one. I'll let
you
y'all
know,
have it.
outside of the ring, she's not living it at all. I can testify to that. She's doing like fashion shoots where she dresses like just normal and nice. Um, so I think it's very much in ring. On that same note, on that flip, Julia Hart I think is living that gimmick.
Yeah, I would say more Julia Hart than Sky Blue, because you can just
Mm-hmm.
like Sky Blue's like she's good in the ring.
Yeah,
She's a great talent, great
great
worker.
talent. Yeah,
But like we're saying, like living the gimmick and everything like that, like it's kind of like transparent where you can see
yeah,
it's just in ring. And once the camera's off and once everything's on as regular, I don't think more like that. Now Julia Hart, when she comes out, you can tell that it's
mm-hmm.
like second nature to her. You can read her lips actually reciting her theme song, walking down,
Yeah,
feeling the groove more, getting into it. And I think, like I said, you can't fool the fans out here. They know what they want to see. They know what they like. And when she comes out, she has a presence, a great presence, as far as like representing her character. So I will see her more as higher than Sky Blue.
yeah. No, I'm keeping Sky Blue down in D. I think Julia Hart's on that B, and with some more time, she's going to be in that A. She just
Yeah,
needs to run with it a little bit longer.
My initial thought was she's comparable to Alexa Bliss, and I wanted her in C. But after hearing you all talk and thinking about it, she's just better.
She is. She
Just
just
across the
really,
board, I think she deserves to be one tier higher.
yeah, she's
Not
amazing.
necessarily in ring skill. I think they're very similar in ring skill, both very
Yeah,
talented people. But in terms of having the blonde kind of cheerleader
yeah,
esque style character, and then transforming into something
yeah.
dark and sinister, I think
yeah.
Julia Hart has just pulled it off to a better degree than Alexa Bliss has.
Yeah, she really ran with it. All right, we got to have this discussion at some point. Let's talk about it now. We also have Uncle Howdy and the Fiend down here. I don't know what to do about this. Bray Wyatt's an S. And the Bray Wyatt character. I always thought the Bray Wyatt character was far more horrifying than the
Mhm.
Fiend, where the Fiend was more, I don't know, mishandled. Could have been, should have been better than it was.
Yeah,
If we separate those two personas between Bray Wyatt and the Fiend, where do we put him, and where do we put Uncle Howdy from what we've seen today?
I'm a huge fan of the Fiend when
Yeah,
when
yeah.
when he did the Fiend work like
yeah,
that like kind of like changed the game a little bit
it
because
did. It did.
when
Champion
when
too.
it changed the game tremendously. Like I was
Yeah,
remember looking at that and was like, man, like I got to step my stuff up
yeah,
because this,
Yeah.
this guy this guy not only came out and just had the people behind him.
yeah.
I mean, he changed the whole arena.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Like if you think about it, like
Mm-hmm.
everything went red, and it was just like it was kind of
Yeah,
like more of like probably the most horrified character that WWE ever kind of like really pushed behind and like gave him a
yeah.
lot of green light to go
Mm-hmm.
because you like Bray Wyatt. I heard backstage about him is a guy with a lot of ideas,
Yeah.
and he was always pitching things and he wanted things like he had great ideas. A lot of people respected the mind that he had. So for WWE to be the type of caliber company that they are, the high top tier company that they are, to agree with the ideas that you got, that mean they really trust you. So,
Yeah.
like I said, when I seen him come out and the whole arena just felt like it just changed. My personal opinion, I liked the Fiend character over the Bray Wyatt character. The Bray Wyatt character
Okay.
was kind of like it was great, but the Fiend kind of took it to another level.
Yeah.
The matches that he had when he became Universal Champion. He changed the belt. When you got that type of era, when you under that type of
Yeah.
style where you just the fans love you so much that you get your own personalized belt as a champion, that kind of puts you on a whole nother level because very, very few guys did that. It's only certain champions that once they get the belt, automatically they can change it to just make it their distinction of that's their belt. And like I said, the Fiend just rose up quick and like it was kind of like if you was a kid right now and watching the Fiend, you'll probably be scared to go downstairs and get some water at the end of the night if you had to go do that.
True story.
Yeah,
True
that
story.
match with him and Seth Rollins in the Hell in the Cell. A lot of people gave that kind of like bad ratings, but I think it was an amazing match. Like I
It's
said,
pretty good.
it changed the arena. It was like what is this? What we watching something new,
Up
something.
until we
And
get
then
to the
also that
end, up
what's
into
that
the
match
end.
he had with LA Knight? His
Oh
that
Yeah,
yeah,
last
yeah,
match.
the Mountain Dew
Come
blacklight
on,
match.
man.
Yeah,
Come on, man. That's just like setting the bar. He was just setting the bar higher each time, and
yeah,
I
different
didn't.
stuff.
I was interested to say what's next.
Yeah,
You know, so
yeah,
I placed the Fiend character. Like I would just go far as saying I placed the Fiend character in the S class and
yeah.
the S
yeah,
No, I
category.
agree with you. You know what? I think the only thing that would bring it down is if you only focus on the misses. But if you focus on the hits, everything you
Yeah.
said is absolutely accurate, and you cannot deny he changed the game. Now,
Yes.
we can't say that that Howdy is changing the game.
no,
He's living the gimmick. Bo Dallas, they're brothers, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
Very much the same as Bray. You can tell that when you watch the documentary on him, if you ever saw that one. They're
hmm
very much inhabiting the same space. It's a shame they didn't get to really do more together before his passing. Um, the Wyatt Six, is it working? Is it a failed experiment? I don't know. Time will tell. It definitely the heat really the momentum came off of it. They shot a rocket. They strapped a rocket to its back, and then at some point they disengaged and just kind of sidelined it. It seems.
Yeah.
Maybe a B.
I say a B.
Yeah,
I
yeah, I
said
think
B. I
so.
think they could have like. I think the Howdy character should have been more like,
Yeah.
more guarded, more. They should have kept more of them when he was on
Mm-hmm.
like the Mystique, and you didn't know like what
Yeah.
he was doing next and everything like that. But my thing once Bobby Lashley laid hands on him,
Mm.
it was kind of like it was kind of
Yeah.
over
That's the
right
end
there. I
of
remember
that.
that. I think that was leading up before that Mania. Bobby Lashley like just
Yeah.
like destroyed him, and
Yeah.
I don't think he never personally bounced back from that character wise. You
No.
know, because the fans was just like, oh, if that can happen
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
him, then like whoa, like so you got to be
Definitely.
like careful, like protecting your character. I was taught
Uh,
that, protect your
well,
character at all costs, because sometimes management can put you in a bad position, and it's
yeah.
hard. Like they can move on,
Yeah.
but it's hard for you to move on after that.
Well,
So so I think after the Bobby Lashley incident,
mm-hmm.
it was
Yeah.
kind of like transparent now. Like we could see through him, and like the mystique was kind of torn
Yeah.
away, and it was just like, all right,
Well,
okay, yeah. So
speaking of
I give him
that,
a B.
right on that same topic, we're going to talk about Finn Balor.
Mm,
There's one that definitely took a hit from lack of protection. We're talking about the
yeah,
Demon, Finn Balor. What a great
yeah,
gimmick, man! What a great look! What a great entrance!
yeah.
Can we put him in A?
I definitely think he can go in
Can
A.
we put him in A? I think we can put him in A.
Yeah, he can go in
I'll
A.
put him in A.
Definitely, he fits in there. He definitely
I
can
want
go
him
in
to be
there.
more solidly an A. I feel like he's just barely an A because of all the damage that was done to the Demon and Finn Balor. When the Demon comes out and it's like played up as like the Demon's coming, the Demon's coming, you better be afraid of the Demon, and then he always loses. That's
Yeah,
rough. That's rough.
yeah.
But
Yeah, some matches I kind of looked at, it's just it's a part of the business. You
yeah,
do your job, you do what you're told to do, and you go out there and give it your all at every time. But sometimes, like I said, it can really you got to be real skilled to come back from like a lot of damages and keep your character at
yeah,
a high level. So yeah, I think like he's a great character.
yeah. One of the
I
best.
love the character. I'm always looking forward to seeing it, but I think he made a wise choice after the Edge match to like
Yeah,
put it away for a while,
yeah,
because
yeah,
he was always good with putting it away for a while and then letting it come back out, and it gets like that refresh
yeah,
vibe.
yeah,
People get back behind it because it's been so long since they remember what happened, and they want to root for him so much. He's
yeah,
another iconic character that the fans really push behind. That's the reason why I put him in the A class, because
yeah,
the iconic status when he brung that character out, the fans really embraced it. I mean, I'm a WWE collector action figure. I could not find an action figure at all. It was sold out, and I'm like, wow,
wow,
this guy's
yeah.
he's
It's a
doing his
big deal.
thing. So with the damage that's done to the character, it kind of dropped him down from that S
Yeah, I
category.
think so.
But definitely A.
Should have been an S class guy.
Should
Um,
have been.
we mentioned Adam Copeland, Edge. I don't really know. He's tricky because of the history. Is he living a gimmick? I think he is. What gimmick he's living, I don't know. Um, is he just wearing the clothes? The impact is great. I don't know about Adam Copeland, guys. Anyone got an idea? Any feeling about that?
I think like you just said, it's
Rough
hard
one.
to read him
It's
because
hard.
he's another versatile guy, and that's kind of good for him.
And
You know,
he floats in and out too. Like he's not
yeah,
always horror or edgy. Sometimes he's just a
right.
superstar. You know?
He's another guy that can just he can whatever he want to do, he can
Yeah,
do
whatever
it.
he
You
wants
know,
to
he
do.
earned the right to do kind of whatever he want to do. You know, so once he kind of like went from like well, think about it, he started out in the Brood. You know,
Yeah,
like those so he came from like a history of having like
yeah.
darkness around him, and I mean, if
And
you
he
really
goes back
listen to
to
like
it.
Edge,
He started the
yeah,
Judgment Day.
exactly. If you
Yeah.
and yeah, exactly. If you listen to Edge promos, you can hear the darkness in
Oh
him.
yeah, yeah.
You know, he kind of talks about I know that dark place. I
Mm-hmm.
can go there any given time.
Yeah.
So it's like a switch with him. He can just switch it on at any given time. So yeah,
I'm
I
gonna put him
respect
in
him
B.
high.
I'm gonna put him in B.
I give him an A.
You go to A. What do you think, Kellen? Break the tie. Adam Copeland. I know it's a tough spot.
For lack of commitment and him checking more boxes to be lower than he does to be higher, I'm gonna say B.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll go with that. Right on the top of B, though. If he leaned into it for a couple of months in either direction, you go A.
I mean, once you start checking the boxes of like what he checks, you
Yeah,
start to almost. I mean, he
yeah.
checks similar boxes to some of these D people,
Oh,
but
absolutely. Yeah,
you have to take into account his short time with the Brood,
yeah,
his willingness to bring that back, his time with Judgment Day,
yeah,
his longevity, his impact. Some of that stuff starts bringing him up
yeah, yeah.
towards more of the B area. Yeah, definitely top of B.
Top of B.
Yeah,
Top of
I
B.
think I can vibe with that.
All right, how do we feel about the Hardys? That's a
S
one-two punch, man. That's a weird one.
S
Jeff and Matt. I feel like Matt should be ranked higher than Jeff.
Matt should be ranked higher than Jeff.
For like horror and goth and stuff. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they both are up in S.
I don't know, they were one of the first like little emo ass high
Yeah,
flying tag teams.
it's
I mean, they
true.
might be the first,
They broke
really.
a
Now that
lot
I
of
stop
ground.
and
They
think
opened a
about it,
lot of doors for it. I mean, yeah, you look at the Darbys down here and a lot of the people under them, and they opened
I
all
think
those doors.
80% of this list is not here without the Hardys.
I feel that. I feel
Yeah,
that. We'll just put them rightfully up in S. I like it.
yeah. I
How
put him in
about
there.
yeah, S is good. How about the House of Black? We got Brody King and Buddy Matthews. Do they just join Malachi in A, or should they go upper or lower?
I think they go hang out with Uncle Howdy in the
Yeah,
land of had my
yeah,
legs
In the
cut
B?
out from under me.
In the B.
yeah,
In the B.
yeah.
Does
I
Buddy
agree with that.
Matthews stay on this list? I mean, there's lack of gimmick there. I mean, I know he's been in the House of Black. I know he's in the Hounds of Hell. Is he really even a horror goth emo guy at all? But now we got to give him credit. Is with Rhea Ripley. Are they're married, right?
Yeah,
So he is married to Rhea
recently, not
Ripley.
long
I
ago.
think that gets you the cred.
Yeah,
That gets you the cred. And Rhea Ripley herself. Do we put her in S? Is it too soon? Does she only go to A?
too soon for S, but I could see her in A, just
Definitely.
from just from megastar appeal.
She's
Like
so
she's going to
awesome.
end up having a woman's level impact comparable to the Hardys,
I
where
think
she
so.
inspires a
Yeah.
generation of tattooed black leather wearing women to come to wrestle. Like a Lita style. Like if Lita was
Yeah.
here, she would be S just from her impact. I think Rhea has
There you
that
go.
same style of impactability.
I feel that.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Huge impact.
Yeah.
My opinion, with Rhea Ripley already on the verge of iconic status.
Hmm.
You
Yeah.
know, like she's right at that door where she just one step in, she's just iconic. You know, like everything you see about her online, everything you see about her in the matches, it just symbolizes iconic at a fast
Yeah.
rate too. So
Mm-hmm.
you know, yeah, and like she lives the character. You
Oh
know,
yeah.
with all the tattoos and everything, she's always changing her image. Where she's still Rhea Ripley, but she's just adding another layer to her character. I think that's a big thing that I like about her personally. Because if you
Yeah.
go from her early career, from NXT UK all the way to NXT, all the way to what she got on Raw or SmackDown, you know, I think that's like played a big part into her changing. So yeah. She's definitely A, but near in the future she'll be S class for sure.
100%, guys. Well, I know that both of you guys are going to be S class as well. You're going to be on this tier list, a couple years from now. I know it in my heart. Kellen Craven, Draven, the Blackbird King. I'll have their links down below. Make sure you check them out on social media, guys. Thank you for helping me fill out this tier list. Make sure you let me know down in the comments below what you would change about it, what would be in your S rank if you'd move any of these guys around. And Grave Diggers, keep digging.
You're looking at the heavyweight headhunter, Aaron Ash. You want to find me on social media? Google me. I'm not here to plug anything. I'm just here to let you look at me. Because I'm great. Now, if you'll excuse me, I got somebody to punch in the face. You have a good one.
Hey, Gravediggers. This is Pro Wrestling's Bastard, the future godfather of ultraviolence, Nico Gray. And you are watching Parts Unknown. Oh, and Gravediggers, keep digging those graves, because I'll send you body bag after body bag after body bag after fucking body bag.
Ladies and gentlemen, standing in front of you right now is the most succulent tag team in professional wrestling history. Brandon Watts and Randy Summers, Milk Chocolate.
And you are watching Parts Unknown from Mr. Heartgrave. Oh, fuck. Shit. My bad. Mr. Heartgrave from Parts Unknown. I'm sorry, Brandon. You could do this all day, though.
That's okay.
Shit. Don't. Oh, no.
You should keep these tapes.
And then you go fuck up my intro.
It was an unfortunate event that happened, but thankfully it's pre-recorded and this footage will never get seen.
Ladies and gentlemen, standing in front of you right now is the most succulent tag team in professional wrestling history. Brandon Watts and Randy Summers, Milk Chocolate.
And you are watching Mr. Heartgrave from Parts Unknown.
Thank you for watching Mr. Heartgrave from Parts Unknown.
From Parts Unknown, Mr. Heartgrave, that bastard you're watching tonight, go and explain.
Hey, I'm Dr. Redacted. I just got done with my goddamn Combat Zone debut, and you're watching Mr. Heartgrave from Parts Unknown. Motherfucker!
Thank you all for watching Mr. Heartgrave from Parts Unknown.
It's MPK, Mr. Heartgrave, all motherfucking dead. Parts Unknown, motherfuckers. You fuck with them, you fuck with me. You fuck with me, I send someone over to ski mask your house with a weapon in their motherfucking hand. Leave them alone.